These days, you can't walk 2 city blocks without seeing a 2-row compact crossover. They are absolutely everywhere. And if you want to know why, well, you can look at a car like this, the Ford Escape. Now, admittedly, this Escape is new, but go back 2 decades or so, and the Escape helped launch the compact crossover from being sort of a weird sedan alternative to the ubiquitous vehicles we have now. There's a good reason for that. Compact crossovers like the Escape offer this special Goldilocks combination of practicality, capability, and affordability that is absolute catnip for millennials, and I should know because I'm a millennial. You can buy a new or used Ford Escape right now. So if you're looking for a bargain, head to CarGurus.com where we can help you find the good deals and the great deals. The Escape used to be a boxy little guy, but Ford swapped in much more European design during the 3rd generation, and it continues on with this 4th generation model. Before 2023, the 3rd gen had a happier face, kind of like a smiling goldfish. But now this new grille with the center-mounted Ford emblem, it definitely looks a lot tougher, a lot more in line with today's style. But compared with cars like the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, or even the Escape's Ford sibling, the Bronco Sport, this looks much more amorphous. Amorphous, but not ugly. If anything, the Escape looks a little more upscale than those competitors. We're testing an ST line Elite trim, complete with 19-inch rims, body color mirrors, and wheel cladding, and this cool LED light bar spanning the top of the grille. At the rear, Escape is spelled in wide set letters between 2 handsome taillights, and at the bottom, we've got dual exhaust outlets. The Escape isn't quite as blocky or rugged looking as some of the other crossovers in its class, but it has its own level of sophistication. Honestly, it's more on the Mazda meets Mercedes styling track. Inside, this Escape is a little more style than substance. I love the look of this quilted leather upholstery, and I actually even think the red contrast stitching in this car kind of looks a little cool, given that it's a compact crossover. This adds a little flair to it. But if I'm honest, the quality of the leather does seem to be lacking a little bit. It's got too much of that hard, plasticky feel. It will probably hold up pretty well, but I don't think it's gonna age like really good, high-quality leather does. Further, where there's not hard leather, there's hard plastic. Ford does a decent job disguising it, but it's plastic nonetheless, and it doesn't feel well supported. Look at how this center console flexes. I don't want to see that. Now, admittedly, this is a comfortable SUV. The seats are well cushioned, they don't feel restrictive, and I was able to dial in a near perfect seating position with the driver's seat's 10-way adjustments. The center console armrest position is solid, the cup holders are well placed, and the steering wheel actually feels really good, even if it does look a little drab. The back seat also offers plenty of space. 40.7 inches of legroom and 39.3 inches of headroom is plenty. Plus, the seat backs are deeply scalloped and softly padded, just in case you do have to give Victor Wembanyama a lift home. The trunk is a bit tighter, with up to 37.5 cubic feet of space behind the rear seat, 65.4 with it folded. You'll be fine most of the time, but if you're coming from something like a Honda CR-V or a Nissan Rogue, well, it might feel a little snug on moving day. Ford sells the Escape with a few different engine options, starting with a 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder that makes 180 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. Now, those are pretty respectable numbers for a little 3-pot, but they're not what we're working with today. Instead, we have a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that churns out 250 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. Both engines pair with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and while the smaller engine can be equipped with either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, this larger 2-liter is all-wheel drive only. 280 pound-feet of torque is a lot of giddy-up for a compact crossover, but the Escape never really feels like a performance crossover. For instance, the 8-speed automatic transmission does do a great job of managing the gears, but there are no paddle shifters, and you can't shift between those gears because this is a rotary controller, not a genuine shifter. Similarly, despite having a sport driving mode, the Escape always feels a little bit soft. The brakes are solid, but the steering is vague. This is a comfortable crossover. It leans through the corners. It soaks up the uneven pavement. This 2-liter engine, it offers a lot of extra power, and it's gonna help when it comes to overtakes or on-ramps, but it doesn't turn the Escape into a corner carver. It really is more about power than it is about performance. With the 3-cylinder engine and front-wheel drive, you can expect 27 mpg in the city, 34 on the highway, 30 combined. Those numbers will drop a little bit if you add all-wheel drive, and if you get the 2-liter with all-wheel drive, expect 23 mpg city, 31 highway, 26 combined. I've been seeing over about 385 miles here, it's showing 27.6 mpg, so that's pretty good. But if your top priority is fuel economy, then I recommend looking at the Escape Hybrid, which can do 39 in combined driving, or the Escape Plug-in Hybrid, which will drive 37 miles on electricity alone before its hybrid engine will deliver 40 mpg. Ford's tech efforts have seen significant improvement over the last 10 years or so, interrupted by some fits and starts. Now, with Sync 4 running in the Escape, it feels like the company has really hit its stride. First, this 13.2-inch display looks terrific. It immediately upgrades the cabin with its big widescreen display, and the user interface is easy, it's simple, it's stylish. I love the bucketed icons. You've got them for maps, music, phone, and all the details are well thought out. Case in point, a dedicated home button sits at the top of the screen, even if you're in Android Auto. And this rightmost panel will show you what's playing on satellite radio, again, even if you're in Android Auto. Our test car has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, plus a wireless charging pad. There are a few annoyances. For one, the wireless Android Auto connection seems to draw more power from my phone than the wireless charging pad can replenish, so eventually I'll end up with a 0 battery if I am driving long enough. I also don't love that the HVAC controls are on the screen. They're very clearly laid out, but I'd prefer those be physical buttons. I don't love that the volume knob is all the way over here, making room for the engine start-stop button under here. And it's not always the fastest system to respond. All that being said, it is undoubtedly easy to use, it looks great, and I haven't run into any major bugs or frustrations. In terms of safety, the NHTSA awarded the 2024 Ford Escape 5 out of 5 stars in its overall crash worthiness test. And while the IIHS did give the 2023 model a somewhat worrisome rating of marginal in its side impact crash test, it nonetheless got the top rating of good in all other tests. Ford also packages Copilot 360 as standard equipment on every Escape, and that means that you get forward collision warning with pedestrian detection, you get automatic emergency braking, you get lane departure warning and lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, and automatic high beams. I would say all of that sounds pretty good. You can upgrade the Escape further with adaptive cruise control, road sign recognition, lane centering, and a 360-degree camera. While lane keeping can be a little inconsistent, the overall suite is undeniably impressive. The 2024 Ford Escape will start at $30,840, including a $1,495 destination fee for the base active trim. Now, to put that into perspective, a base trim Chevy Equinox, well, that won't cost you more than $28,000 to start, and a base Hyundai Tucson, no more than $29,000 to start. But on the other hand, you can't get into a Mazda CX-5 for less than 30 grand. So that puts the base trim levels of the Escape somewhere in the upper middle of the pack. Now this ST Elite trim that we tested today, this costs almost $43,000, and that means you're paying a steep premium for this one. But you are getting the upgraded engine, the upgraded tech, and the upgraded safety. So is it worth it? Well, that depends on how much you value those features. Outside of its engine, which really does outgun most of the competition, the Escape fails to really outshine much of the field in any given specific area. Now, don't get me wrong, Ford still sells a ton of Escapes, but seeing as there is a lot more competition from rapidly improving crossovers across the marketplace and even just the existence of the Ford Bronco Sport, well, it's easy for the Escape to get a little lost in the shuffle. And that's too bad, because the Escape has been with us for a long time, and for a long time it's been a quality option at a good price, giving millennials like me the sort of affordable, practical transportation we desperately want. So let us know in the comments section below. Should the Escape name soldier on, or are there better options out there? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and as always, we'll see you next time.